to roll, baby. It is 10:06 here on this Monday evening. It is a 4-hour edition of JJ After Dark. That's right, John Jastrzemski keeping you company right here on the Fan. 877-337-6666. Two-way number to get in touch with the busy show. You got the Huff, Peter Hoffman, Miss Sarah Kumu. Across the way on the other side of the glass, Mr. Met in wonderful spirits, Bobby Isler. With your updates every 20 minutes, we are with you for the next 4 hours. Tony Page coming your way at 2. The Fan right here in New York City. And folks, break up the first place New York Mets. Believe it. So much for a letdown Monday night down in Miami after the Mets go out there and have their best series in the history of Citi Field. The emotional win on Friday, the emotional win on Saturday. The crowd is going goo-goo gaga. They're going bonkers. They're going bonkers up the wazoo on Sunday with Syndergaard's performance with the 3 home runs in the bottom half of the third inning. And the concern for many Met fans and the concern for yours truly going into this road trip, 3 against the Miami Marlins, 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays, would the Mets suffer some sort of letdown here? We know how dynamic they've been at Citi Field all season long, 20 games over 500. But this has been a lousy baseball team away from Citi Field this year. Well, they got this road trip off to an unbelievable start, going out there and smacking the Miami Marlins in this ball game, bottom half of the 9th inning, and the Mets are just cruising here. They're on their way to their 4th straight victory, and the Mets getting all sorts of contributions from this offense. Michael Conforto, who I want to see more of. With the way Juan Lagares has been swinging a bat this year, you throw in the fact that Juan Lagares' arm is all beat up. I want to see more Michael Conforto against right-handed pitching. He gets it going with a 3-run homer. Yoenis Cespedes, who is going to become a fan favorite here over the final 2 months, a man who is mainly responsible for this uptick, this dynamic changing within the Met organization. Cespedes has a coming out party here. 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, and it is just amazing to me, folks. It's amazing how the feel, how the narrative, how the way you perceive the New York Mets has changed drastically. It has done a complete 180. It shows you, folks, all it takes is a couple of professional players. What were we screaming for the last couple of weeks? An impact bat, guys to come off the bench, guys to give you a well-rounded lineup. You're getting that now with the Mets. You could forget about the days when John Mayberry Jr. and Eric Campbell were compromising your cleanup spot and your 5th spot against the best pitcher in baseball in Clayton Kershaw. Now, you actually have a lineup that 1 through 8 has some serious pop and sizzle. Cespedes hitting in that 3-hole, match made in heaven. That is the sort of bat the Mets have been lacking here for quite some time. Anytime Cespedes steps to the plate, there's a threat he can go yard. There's a threat he can go out there and wreck a game. Why do you think he got intentionally walked on Saturday and Duda was able to go out there and get the big hit? Because Cespedes strikes fear in opponents. He's the sort of guy that's going to keep you up at night as a pitching coach. Monday night's game, perfect example. 3 doubles, 4 RBIs, a coming out party in Miami, which, you know, is Cespedes' probably second home, his adopted home, as many of his Cuban brethren are hanging out down in Miami, and hopefully Yoenis Cespedes can stay out of trouble the next couple of nights, as, you know, there's a lot to do down in South Beach, a lot to do in the city of Miami, but you absolutely love what this New York Mets team is doing. And I think Noah Syndergaard said it best. I was watching a game here on Monday evening before heading in to do the show, and my buddy Steve Gelbs, the sideline reporter for SNY, had Noah Syndergaard down in the tunnel. I don't know if they did the interview before the game, during the game, whatever the case may be. But Syndergaard telling people, telling Gelbsy, when we win the NL East. When. And that's the way many of you Met fans should feel going into the final 2 months of this year. When is the last time we've been sitting here, August and September, and the Mets have actually been in sole possession of first place? You got to go all the way back to the 2008 season. And we know that 2007 and 2008 really spiraled out of control, 2 catastrophic collapses in back-to-back years. But this Met team seems to be on the up and up. This is a Met team that is on the upswing here. Because the starting pitching is a given. All you're worried about Bartolo Colon. How many calls did I take yesterday? Even with the Mets playing incredibly well. People complaining, bitching and moaning. Why is Colon in the rotation? How do you keep running Bartolo Colon out there? Bartolo Colon goes out there and gives you a tremendous performance here against a bad Marlins team. I get that. But Colon is your 5th starter. You could do a heck of a lot worse, especially when you're running out of rotation that features 3 studs right now in DeGrom, who's the ace of staff, Harvey, the Dark Knight, and Noah Syndergaard, who's pitching to a sub-3 ERA, and you could start to make the argument. You could start to make the point that maybe Noah Syndergaard deserves to be mentioned in consideration for the NL Rookie of the Year. With the way Jock Peterson has tailed off, with the way Chris Bryant has tailed off. You can make an argument that if Syndergaard pitches really well over the final 2 months and the Mets find their way into the postseason, that maybe he ends up as the NL Rookie of the Year. He's been that dynamic for this Met team. The pitching has always been there. It's been a given. Now you look at this team, they're running out a legitimate everyday big league lineup, and it's refreshing to watch. It really is. You tell me, Met fans, before the Cespedes trade, before bringing in Kelly Johnson and Juan Uribe from the Atlanta Braves, did you think your team was capable of going out there and scoring 12 runs, even against a lousy Marlin team? Hell no. Not a chance in the world. Because the offense was a joke. It was like you were begging for any sort of offensive help. Now, that offensive help is here, and it's no coincidence that the Mets have gone out there now and have won 4 consecutive games. The fan base is feeling really good about itself. The team is feeling really good about itself. And over the final 2 months of this year, you can dream big. The notion of winning the National League East is no longer a pipe dream. And I'll be the first to admit, 3 weeks ago, I would have told you, no way this Met team is passing the Washington Nationals. No way, no how. With the lineup they were running out there, John Mayberry Jr., Eric Campbell, come on now. How could you take the Mets seriously? Now, you look at the Mets over the final 2 months, you better believe I'm taking them seriously. And I'll be the first to admit, I am drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. They have a legitimate big league lineup. They have one of the best starting rotations in baseball. Clippard and Familia is a legitimate 8th inning, 9th inning combo, and the Washington Nationals can't get out of their own way. The Nationals, yet again here on Monday, they have struggled mightily. They are getting some of the cavalry back within the next couple of weeks. Strasburg will be back. Denard Span will be back. We'll see if Rendon can get going. We'll see if Ian Desmond can get going. But this is not the powerhouse Washington Nationals team that maybe you expected to see at the start of the year. The Mets should have every reason to believe they can go toe-to-toe with this team, especially that they went out there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and swept them out of Citi Field. Citi Field against the Washington Nationals was a house of horrors for the Mets. The Mets had lost 33 of their last 42 games against the Washington Nationals in that ballpark. To go out there and sweep them 3 straight, it's a signal of maybe the tide turning within this division, within this Met franchise. A 12-1 victory here on Monday night. The Mets 6 games over 500. And more importantly, the New York Mets on August the 3rd in sole possession of first place in the National League East. So, after the embarrassment of Wednesday, the trade that wasn't, Flores crying at shortstop, Thursday you squander a 7-1 lead to the San Diego Padres. You're thinking it's rock bottom. Now, a couple of days later, the Met fan smiling ear to ear. The Met fan dreaming big. Thinking playoffs, thinking division title. Why not? With what they were able to do here at the trade deadline, life is good if you're a fan of the New York Mets. 877-337-6666. Immediate reaction to the Mets' 12-1 victory over the Miami Marlins, 4 in a row. Now the Mets in sole possession of first place in the National League East. We'll get to the Yankees' big week ahead against the Boston Red Sox. Snooze fest of a rivalry, but a very interesting test Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and another sizzling, scorching hot team is going to be making their way into the tri-state area. We will get into that. We'll have John Harper of the New York Daily News joining us in hour number 2, do some football a little bit later on in the show, but we'll get it rolling with your calls right after this.